All right, Shalom, Shalom. First off, give all praise, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushai, Bahashem, Rakar Kadash. Double honors to the apostles and the elders of GMS. Salutes and honors to the elect, all the brothers across the four corners who are enduring in truth and sincerity, the women, the children, and the confusion of faith who follow. So, we're going to be reading Second Esdras chapter 3. There's a lot of parallels between, you know, what was going on, back in those times in the Babylonian captivity, and the things that are going on in these times in our, the new Babylonian captivity, which Babylon, which is the land of confusion, is also America in the scriptures. So, Lord's will, this is going to be edifying. And, with that being said, let's jump right into it. It says, in the 13th year after the ruin of the city, I was in Babylon, and I lay troubled upon my bed, and my thoughts and my thoughts came up over my heart. And, we can all really relate to that. We're all the hopeful elect, I should say. We're here in Babylon, and we often reflect on, the state of our nation, everything that's happened to us. The kids are out of order, the women are out of order, the men are out of order. We put money, or we put money in bags with holes. Subject under payments, last hire, first fire, service upon horses. All these things. All the things that you know we can see, that we feel, and we're going through right now. So this is the same kind of feeling that Ezra was getting at this time as well. It says, "For I saw the desolation of Zion and the wealth of them that dwelt at Babylon." Right, because we're at the bottom in this society, and we see how these so-called white men are flowing in wealth, how the wicked are flowing in wealth. And let me keep reading. It says, "And my spirit was sore moved, so that I began to speak words with full of Saki. I began to speak words full of fear to the Most High, and said, O Lord, who bearest rule, thou mayest speakest at the beginning, when thou didst plant the earth, and thou alone, and commandest the people." So basically, like I said, he's feeling like, man, they're prospering. I don't want to jump the gun. I don't want to jump the gun, Slocky. We're gonna keep reading. So, you know, we all know that the Most High, started all this. It says, and gave us a body unto Adam without soul, which was the workmanship of thine hands, and didst breathe into him the breath of life, and he was made living before thee. Right. So it's not just speaking about actually putting breath into him, but it's, he breathed the law, statutes, and commandments in him. That's what ultimately gives him life, right? It says, and thou leadest him into paradise, which thy right hand had planted before the earth came forward. Right. So he was in the Garden of Eden. Right. So, he's just reflecting on, where we came from as really a people, because the so-called Adamites were the Israelites, all right, were the chosen line, before the reincarnation. It says, and unto him thou gavest commandments to love thy way, which he transgressed, and immediately thou appointed death in him and his generations. Right. So as you can see, Adam was given that 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 spot. He was the top guy, same as Israel, but he went off and transgressed, and consequences followed. Same with our nation. Later on in the reincarnation, when we're that chosen seed, and then we went off, and then what? Consequences followed. It says, thou appointed death in him and his generations, of whom came nations, tribes, people, kindreds out of every number. It says, and every people walked after their own will and did wonderful things before thee and despised thy commandments. Right. So everyone comes from Adam. Okay. Uh, the seed of Jacob, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, all the other nations, everyone comes from Noah. Well, I don't want to jump. This is a fire chapter. I keep, wanting to jump forward, but it's going to get to all of that, man. It's going to get to all that. But people walked after their own will. People did what they wanted to do. All right, and that's the same thing that are going on in these times. All right, people are living their best life. People are doing the things that are conducive to them to succeed. Nobody's, for the most part, the general population, I'll say, they're not worried about the Lord. They're not worried about serving the Most High. They're not worried about the consequences of their actions and the judgments that are soon to come. It says, verse 9, and again in process of time, thou broughtest the flood upon those that dwelt in the world and destroyedst them. Right, so in process of time, there was a mass extinction. Slakia. All right, Salakia. We back. Not sure where I was at, so we just gonna pick it back up. Um, verse 9, it says, and again in process of time, thou broughtest the flood upon those that dwelt in the world and destroyedst them. Right. So as wickedness, well, let's get that in the blue letter. It says Matthew 24:37. It says, but as the days of Noah were, so shall also the coming of the Son of Man be. For as in the days that were before the flood, they were eating and drinking, marrying and giving in marriage until the day Noah entered into the ark. Right. So back then, they were doing the same things that's going on right now. You see people clubbing, people don't, like I said, living their best life. People really don't care. They got better things to do. Eating and drinking, chamberlain or chambering, worried about, getting to the bedroom, going partying. But they knew not, Sakya. Verse 39 says, and knew not until the flood came and took them all away, so shall also the coming of the Son of Man be. So people are going to get blindsided in these times when the destruction comes, same as they were, blindsided in those days because they didn't care. They had better things to do. All right. Verse 11. Nevertheless, one of them thou lestest, namely Noah, with his household, of whom came all righteous men. So there was always a chosen seed. There was always a chosen line, to preserve righteousness, like it says in Wisdom of Solomon. I believe it's Wisdom of Solomon. Righteousness is immortal. Wisdom of Solomon 1:15. For righteousness is immortal. There we go. Right. So the righteousness is going to always continue coming down, like I said, being passed down generation to generation all the way to Noah. All right. And then being preserved within his seed as well. Verse 12 says, and it happened that they that dwelt upon the earth began to multiply and had gotten many children and were a great people. They had begun again to be more ungodly than the first. So, when you read about the Tower of Babel, you know, the Most High, he just destroyed everyone. He left Noah and his house, his three sons and their wives, and from them you get all the nations in the world, and then you have everyone. Matter of fact, let's get Genesis. Said Genesis 6. Uh, let's jump back. Yeah. Let me see. I believe this is the chapter. Khan. Okay, so we're gonna go to the next chapter, and here's the flood. Bear with me. With this. Okay, here we go. Yep. Okay. So Genesis 11:1 it says, "And the whole earth was of one language and of one speech. And it came to pass, as they journeyed from the east, that they found the plain in the land of Shinar and dwelt there. And they said one to another, Go, let us make a brick and burn them thoroughly. And they had brick for stone, and slime that had they for mortar. And they said, Go, let us build us a city and a tower whose top may reach unto heaven, and let us make us a name, lest we be scattered abroad upon the face of the whole earth. And the Lord came down to see the tower, to see the city and the tower, and the children of men built it, which the children of men built it. And the Lord said, Behold, the people is one, and they all have one language. And this they began to do, and now nothing will be restrained from them, which they have imagined to do. Go, let us go down and confound their language, that they may not understand one another's speech. So the Lord scattered them abroad from this upon the face of the earth, and off they left off to build the city. So now, the Most High confounded the language. He basically split up the people. But like I said, that chosen line was there from the jump. Okay, and this chosen line, when you go into it, sons of Japhet, where are the sons of Shem? There we go, Slakia. So when you go into Genesis 10 and 24, it says, And our facts had began Salah, and Salah beget Eber. All right. And this is where you get Hebrew from. Okay. It says Eber or Heber says the region beyond, but it really goes into the past. Okay. Because we are the ones who kept the language from the past. Matter of fact, let me see if I have my document that helps go into that. Baba Kushab, bear with me. Matter of fact, I'll just pause it real quick. So I just have here, a document from from the Hebrew booklet that I have. I'll just read it. It says a brief history of the Hebrew language. It says Lashwan Kodash, the holy tongue, which is Hebrew, is the father of all languages of the earth. In the beginning, Hebrew was the only language spoken by all nations. At the Tower of Babel, the the Most High confounded their language, that they may not understand one another's speech, which we just read. It says from that time, all nations started speaking different languages. Salah, who was living during the time of the Tower of Babel, named his son Eber because he kept the language from the past. The word Eber is the Hebrew word Ibar, which means pass. And we just read that in Genesis 11 to 1 through 6 and 7. So that Ibar is, the pass. So, we are the ones who kept that. But, that's, one thing, but we're going to get back on topic. Okay. Let me see. Verse 13. So now when they lived so wickedly before thee, thou didst choose thee a man from among them, and his. I'll go back to 12. All right, yeah, it'll transition a little better. Verse 12 it says, and it happened that when they dwelt upon the earth, that when they that dwelt upon the earth began to multiply and had gotten them many children, and they were a great people, they began again to be more ungodly than the first. Now, when they lived so wickedly before thee, thou didst choose thee a man from among them, whose name was Abraham. Him thou lovest, and unto him only thou showedest thy will. Right? So Abraham is that chosen line. All right, it says, and madest an everlasting covenant with him, promising him that thou wouldst never forsake his seed. And unto him thou gavest Isaac, and unto Isaac also thou gavest Jacob and Esau. For as Jacob did, thou didst choose him to thee and put by Esau, and so Jacob became a great multitude. Right, so we were chosen back then, we're chosen now, we've always been chosen, always will be chosen. All right, and it came to pass when thou leadest his seed out of Egypt, thou broughtest them up unto Mount Sinai, and bowing the heavens, thou didst set fast the earth, movest the whole world, and madest the depths to tremble, and troublest the men of that age. And thy glory went through the four gates of fire, and of earthquake, and of wind, and of cold, that thou mightest give the law unto the seed of Jacob, and diligence unto the generation of Israel. And we are to, continue in these things in these times that were given us, back at, the beginning. We were given the law, statutes, and commandments. We were given these orders on how to live and how to govern our life. And we rehearse the righteous acts, and we continue in these things to this day. All right, it says, and yet tookest thou not away from them a wicked heart, that they might, it's like that thy law might bring forth fruit in them. Right. So we when Adam was made, he was made in that perfect state. All right, he had that everlasting life ability, but when when we fell through the philosophies of the so-called serpent, all right, in conjunction with the woman, we all know the story. All right, that's when we got that fleshly heart. That's when you know now we have knowledge of good and evil. Now the word's not written in us like it is going to be when we are in the kingdom. All right, let's get that real quick. What's that? Hebrews. I said 9. Bear with me, y'all. Um, I don't think it's 12. Let me see. Damn. Come on, man. It's embarrassing. Where my sword at? Just pull. Bear with me, Slovakia. 8. That's why. Okay. So this is Hebrews chapter 8, and starting at verse 6, it says, "But now have he obtained the more excellent ministry, but how much also he is the mediator of a better covenant, which was established upon better promises. For if the first covenant had been faultless, then it should then should no shock it, then should no place have been sought for the second. For finding fault with them, he saith, Behold, the days come, saith the Lord, when I will make a new covenant with the house of Israel and the house of Judah." So, all right, the old covenant was what? The law, the letter of the law. That's what righteousness was. But in order to be saved in these times, it's not going to be the letter of the law. Okay, of course, we saved by faith and saved by grace, but the new covenant is going to be. Well, I don't want to jump it. Um, verse verse 9, it says, "Not according to the covenant that I made with their fathers in the day when I took them by the hand and led them out of the land of Egypt, because they continued not in my covenant, and I regarded them not, saith the Lord. For this is the covenant that I will make with the house of Israel in those days, saith the Lord. I will put my laws into their mind and write them in their hearts, and I will be to them a power, and they shall be to me a people." Right. So the Most High is going to write the covenants, the law, statutes, and commandments in our hearts and in our minds, so that we don't go off again. And that's the difference. That's what's really going to separate these times from those times. So Adam, okay, going back to verse 21, it says, "For the first Adam, bearing a wicked heart, transgressed, and he was overcome, and so be all that were born of him." So from that time on down, we are in these bodies, right? These chains of darkness, subject unto sin, living as mortal men. But that time is soon to be over with, because as we just read, the Most High is going to write these uh, feelings, these law, statutes, and commandments, these beautiful things within us, so that we don't even have to worry about that, and we'll never go off again. All right. So continuing, verse 22, it says, "Thus infirmity was made permanent." Infirmity was made permanent. That's why we go through all the things that we go through now. All right. And the law also in the heart of the people, with malignity of the root, so that the good departed away and the evil still abode. So that's why you have good people, you have bad people, you have murderers, you have rapists, you have adulterers, you have righteous men, you have everything under the sun, right? Because we're given the illusion of choice to be good or bad, and everyone ultimately is in their lot. If you're elect, you're gonna be elect. You're gonna do elect things. If you're a wicked nigga, you're gonna be a wicked nigga. You can go do wicked nigga things, so on and so forth throughout the nations. Verse 23. So the times passed away, and the years were brought to an end. Then thou did raise up a servant called David, whom thou commandest to build a city unto thy name, and to offer incense and oblations unto thee therein. When this was done many years, then they that inhabited the cities forsook thee. Right. So David, who was a man after the Most High's own heart, right? He built the tabernacle. He built the city, and showed us basically gave us an example basically on how we should live. But as we do, we continue to evolve into a more wicked generation. Okay, and end up forsaking the Most High and being that's how we got put away. Verse 26, and in all things did even as Adam and all his generations had done, for they also had a wicked heart. So that wicked heart is getting passed down all the way to these times. That's why even us you know who are seeking salvation, our righteousness is as filthy rags, because we also had that fleshy heart, that wicked heart, and we fall short of the glory time on and time on. All right, 27. And so thou gavest thy city over to the hands of thine enemy, and their deeds, then any Sakya, are their deeds then any better than the inhabitants of Babylon, that they should therefore have dominion over Zion? So this is now, like I said, going back to the beginning, this is Esdras, really just pondering on his bed and thinking like, damn, you know, are there the things that the heathen are doing? Are they better than what we're doing? And in these times, you see, the homosexuality. You see, like I said, women out of order. All these things that are going on in society. Are the heathen doing the things that are worse than what Israelites are doing? And this is his question. That's the question then. That's the question right now. Let me see. Verse 29, it says, "For when I came thither and had seen impieties without number, then my soul saw many evildoers, and this 13th year, so that my heart failed me. For I have seen how thou sufferest them sinning, and hast spared and hast spared wicked doers, and has destroyed my people, and have preserved thine enemies, and has not signified it." Right. So, like, man, I see us. We're going through it. We're getting judged left and right, and these heathen, they're just going off. They're doing whatever they want. They're sinning. You spared the wicked doers. We're being destroyed, but they're still preserved. Like, what's going on? And let me get this. Uh, actually, this is Ecclesiastes 8:11. It says, "Because sentence against an evil work is not executed speedily, therefore the heart of the sons of men is fully set in them to do evil." So people believe they have a carte blanche, all right, because the Most High hasn't judged them yet. As of yet, they're gonna keep doing their wicked deeds, and that's really what's going on in those times. People, because they're not of the Most High, so they're not gonna feel that chastening. All right, the Most High, if he, like it says in Hebrews, if he did what you as sons, he's gonna chasten you. But those bastards, okay, they're not going to feel the chastening. But just because sentence against an evil work is not executed speedily, just because he didn't immediately punish them, okay, doesn't mean that they're not going to eventually be punished. And of course they will. And hey, the so-called white man, your time is running up, man. Verse 31, it says, "I do not remember how this way may be left. Are they then of Babylon better than they of Zion?" And that's one thing that this devil is fully set in his heart to try to prove. He puts us in the hood, crabs in a bucket mentality, low low level of education, high level of violence. You know, no opportunities or very little opportunities to get out, and all reason why we could or should commit violence. And then he points his finger and says, "Look at your children," so that he could try to get in the better graces with the Most High. So, as was questioning, I do not remember how this way may be left. It says, "And are they then of Babylon better than they of Zion? Are these heathen better than us? We're getting punished back to back to back, and they're not. Are they better than us? Do they not deserve what we're getting and worse? Or is there any people that knoweth thee besides Israel, or what generation have so believed in thy covenants as Jacob? He's like, bro, we a people, and that's what the prophets in these times are doing. We're saying, hey, we are separate. All right, there's a 1/3 and a 2/3. The 1/3 are separating themselves from the 2/3, from this world, so that we can get a righteous judgment and duck the wrath of the Most High. It says, or is there any other people that know of thee besides Israel, or what generation have so believed in thy covenants as Jacob, and yet the reward appeareth not? Right. So I mean, we're holding the covenant. We hold the law. We have the worship. Matter of fact, let's get Romans 9. Says Romans 9:1, I say the truth in Hamashiach, I lie not. My conscience also bearing me witness in the Holy Spirit, for that I have a great heaviness and continual sorrow in my heart. For I could wish that myself were accursed from Hamashiach, for my brethren, my kinsmen according to the flesh, who are Israelites, to whom pertaineth the adoption and the glory and the covenants and the giving of the law and the service of the Most High and the promises, whose are the fathers and of whom, as concerning the flesh, Hamashiach came, who was over all the Most High blessed forever. Amen. Right? So the reason why I got this, is because of this right here. All right. We are whom pertaineth the adoption, all right, and the glory, and the covenants, and the giving of the law, and the service of the Most High, and the promises. All right, all that is for us. So Esdras is like, man, if we deserve all of this, why don't we have that reward? Why is our reward appearing not? Okay, but the Most High is a man that he should not lie, and he is bound by his prophecies. So over the course of time, these prophecies are going to come to happen, and our reward will appear. And every day we are inching closer and closer and closer. All right, everything that's going on in the world right now is just, man, it's catapulting us. It's slingshotting us forward into in the prophecy, man. And then the Lord is gonna come back soon and reveal Himself and redeem His people, redeem His chosen. Verse 33 says, "And yet their reward appeareth not, and their labor have no fruit. For I have gone here and there through the heathen, and I see that they flow in wealth, and think not upon thy commandments." Right. So if you go around, you might see, the heathen driving a nice car, or living in a nice house. What does the scripture say about envy? Uh, Envy not the wicked. It's like, yeah. I can't quote it. Let me see here. And I believe it's in Second Esdras as well. Hold on, I can find it in my apocrypha. Sometimes it's just a lot easier to have a book with you. Okay, here we go. Here we go. This is a Second Ezra chapter 6, and Man, I'm gonna start back up at verse 54. It says, "And after these, Adam also, whom thou madest Lord of all thy creatures, of him come we all, and the people also whom thou hast chosen. All this I have spoken before thee, O Lord, because thou madest the world for our sakes, right? For our sakes, the Negros, Latinos, and Native Americans. As for the other people, which also come of Adam, this is not it. This is not it. This is good, but this is not it. Is it in? It's in Second Ezra 9. That's what it is. Second Ezra 9 and 14. It says, "Then answered I and said, I have said before, and now do speak, and will speak also hereafter, that there be many more of them which shall perish than of them which shall be saved." No, that's not it either. Like as a wave is greater than a drop. Oh, yep. Matter of fact, Saki, let me back it up. Let me back it up. Second Ezra 9 and 13, it says, "And therefore be not curious how the ungodly shall be punished and when, but inquire how the righteous shall be saved, whose the world is, for whom the world is created." So don't worry about the things that the heathen are gonna get. Let's read these together one more time. All right, it says, "And yet the reward appeareth not, and their labor have no fruit. For I have gone here and there throughout the heathen, and I see that they flow in wealth, and think not upon thy commandments." All right. And then Second Ezra 9 and 13 it says, "And therefore be thou not curious how the ungodly shall be punished, and when, but inquire how the righteous shall be saved, whose the world is, for whom the world is and for whom the world is created." Right. So the world is created for our sake. So we're not even going to worry about, when they're going to get their judgment, how they're going to get their judgment. We know that they're going to get their judgment. So yeah, go ahead. They had their consolation on this side. Go ahead, live in your big house. Go ahead, sell out. You know, do whatever it is you think that you got to do on this side, because we put our trust in Yahweh by Shem Yahushai, and our treasures are laid in heaven. All right, we know when we understand that when the Most High come back and He redeems us, that it's going to be, that's the time that we're gonna, you know, be flowing in wealth when we're in the kingdom of heaven, and there's gonna be a role reversal. In verse 34, "Weigh thou therefore our wickedness in the balance, and theirs also that dwell in the world, and so shall thy name nowhere be found but in Israel." Right? Or, "When was that they which dwelt upon the earth have not sinned in thy sight? Or what people have so kept thy commandments?" Right? "Thou shalt find that Israel by name have kept thy precepts, but not the heathen." So when you go and you weigh our wickedness in the balance, you see the evil shit that they're doing. They're doing it on a mass scale. You know, Jake might be in the hood, pity patting back and forth, but this man is dropping nuclear bombs on countries. So weigh our wickedness in the balance. And who are the people who are trying, who are really trying? All right. It's the so-called, or the Saki, it's the hopeful elect. Those are the ones who are keeping thy precepts, keeping the commandments. And thou shalt find that Israel by name, Yasha'Allah, have kept thy precepts, but not the heathen. All right, these churches ain't teaching the word how it's supposed to go. All right, you gave this knowledge to our apostles on down, and we take it and we run with it. So, Lord's will, this was edifying, and I want to give all praise, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakar Kadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of GMS. Salutes and honors to the elect, all the brothers across the four corners who are enduring in truth and sincerity, the women, the children, and the confusion of the faith who follow. Shalom.